what a fantastic day to be on the bank. It's absolutely glorious down here, and just to keep things nice and fresh, you find me at a different venue this month. I'm over in Reading, just on the Berkshire-Oxfordshire border, fishing a lake that's known as Long Lake, which is run by Alan Cooper. It's another one of the waters on his portfolio, so if you want any details about it, then check it out on Alan's website, which is CWA Fisheries. Now, it's roughly about 10 acres in size, it's a syndicate water, and the best way to describe it is as a classic English carp lake, because it's got lots of nice features, lots of different depths, gin clear water with lots of weed, and the carp stock is absolutely breathtaking. There isn't a fish in here that you wouldn't want in your album, because there's loads of stunning scaly mirrors, some nice commons. I couldn't tell you exactly how many fish are in here, but there's about half a dozen or so 40-pounders, including two lovely linears that are over 45 pounds. And you've also got some lovely backup 30-pounders, not sure exactly how many, but there's lots of nice scaly ones, including some fully scaled mirrors, some commons, and lots of mirrors. So there's lots of variety. Even the smaller doubles in here are simply stunning, because Alan's really sourced them well from some of the best English carp suppliers that are out there. Now, the plan for me is to fish here during the course of the autumn months. We're actually in the time of the year now which is going to start really kicking into play, because this time of the year is when the fish start to get their heads down. They start to realise that winter's on its way, the temperatures are starting to reduce, and you're also seeing the light levels fading as well, which I think is a massive trigger of fish. Now, historically, people always used to say that the big carp feed was in the autumn months, but for me, I think that has actually shifted a bit towards the end of summer now, which is where we are. I used to see it at Carp Talk when we did the catch reports there. Back end of August, early September, things would start to really kick into play. You'd start seeing some fish getting caught that probably hadn't been caught during the course of the year at all, and you start seeing those really rare ones coming out. But it is a time of the year when you do really need to focus your fishing. You need to have an idea what you're doing, and I think this venue is where I'm going to stay at, certainly for the next few months, and try and get some of these bigger fish that are in here on the bank, hopefully. Now, what I tend to do when I'm fishing the water at this time of the year is focus on 2 or 3 different swims. I wouldn't say this lake is a busy lake, but there is a turnaround of anglers on here that's consistent, so I'm going to try and pick a couple of swims that the lads aren't fishing too much, and then I'm going to start introducing a little bit of bait. It's a time of the year when, if you can get bait going out consistently in the same area, you'll start seeing fish visiting those areas on a regular basis, which is always going to put you in with a good chance of catching them. So that's what I'm going to start doing. I've been down here a couple of times prior to me talking to you today, and I've picked those areas, I've baited them lightly, and I'm going to keep that bait going in while I'm down here. And I'm not really sure which fish I'd like to catch out here the most, but certainly either of the 2 linears that are in here, because there's 2 fantastic fish around the 45-pound mark, one known as the barbecue zip and another one called the big zip, which have been gradually over the years getting a little bit bigger, getting very much sought after, and on the bank they are simply stunning. Yeah, it's going to be interesting fishing down here, so let's turn the camera on and hopefully we get some nice footage to describe to you a little bit about this time of the year, because anything can happen. The fish tend to be at good weight, and if you get it right and you get your plan of action correct, you can definitely get some fantastic catches in your album. Right, it might not be massive, but that is the kind of carp that you can catch from Long Lake. That's why I'm fishing here, because that is just beautiful. In about 10 years' time, I bet that is most desirable. Beautiful carp. Well, it's definitely a lovely afternoon to be on the lake because it's nice and quiet. There's only one other angler here down the far end, and bearing in mind there's still people on furlough. I know there's not many, but there's still people out there that are on furlough, so there's quite a few people on the lakes at the moment. It's nice to be on a lake that isn't too busy, but it's definitely good conditions as well. You know, I've mentioned before in these blogs that when it starts to get towards the back end of the year, there's this kind of folklore amongst carp anglers that the autumn time is when the fish really go on the feed, but I actually think that has now changed to being towards the back end of August, early September. This is one of the best times of the year to be out fishing. There's lots of people catching big fish at the moment, and the conditions are really good. There's lots of cloud cover, there's a nice breeze blowing down the lake, and there's fish definitely in front of me. I'm in a swim that's known as the Barracks, and I fished here last week when I managed to catch myself a nice fish over 32 pounds, 33 pounds. I can't remember exactly how big it was. It was a fish called a male, and he put up a right scrap, and I also lost one as well. But you know, I'm back here again, and I'm hoping that something's gonna happen for me, because there's been quite a few guys down here over the last few days, and there's nothing been caught. So anytime soon, something's got to give, because there's loads of big fish in here that are definitely due to get caught. And as I say, we're towards that time of the year now when things start to happen, and this is a swim where I'm really confident in, because it's quite deep out in front. It's not the deepest area of the lake, but there's a lot of volume of water down here, and a lot of the regulars on here tell me that this time of the year, this is the kind of end of the lake where you need to be. Not necessarily this swim, but this end of the lake is where some of the better captures start to come from. There's a lot of weed dotted about, but there are a few clear areas here and there, and we've got some Canadian pondweed. There's some big blooms of it in places, which could cause me a few problems if I'm not careful, but I've got tough gear on. But there are little patches of this, what we call eelgrass. This is something that's common on Allen's Lakes. There's some on Roach Pit, and on here there's lots of patches of it here and there. It sort of sticks up off the bottom in small single strands rather than in big clumps, and amongst this eelgrass the carp definitely love to feed. On Roach Pit it's definitely an attractor of the fish, and on here it's something that people have definitely told me you need to fish towards. So that's what I've done. I just dropped both rods in deep water. They're both in about 12 foot at the moment, and I've just cast single hook baits out there. I've not even bothered with bags or mesh bags to try and protect the hook or anything. I'm confident that they're going down there with a nice donk, and I've baited up quite well as well. I've put a couple of kilos of bait out there, just using boilies at the moment, just using the SLK. It's that time of the year when the fish are going to feed. Big fish especially love boilies at this time of the year, so that's what I'm doing, is I'm sticking to that. And as I say, on my last trip down here I was successful enough to catch myself a nice fish, which was known as the male, and we'll take a look at that one now, and after that we'll obviously progress in this session and see what happens and develops during the time that I'm down here. I've got 3 nights available to me, and I'm relatively confident that something could happen. Oh yeah, it's a good fish, mate. Yes, nice. Oh. Fish known as the male, and if I'd have lost it, I'd have probably said it was a 40, because it was a colossal battle, and very long fish as well, so it's lovely to get that. Behind the swim there's absolutely tons of gorgeous blackberries. They're so ripe. So I'm just gonna make myself a little drink, which I always do at this time of year, and it's too good an opportunity to miss. It's dead simple to do. Pick the blackberries, pick the bigger ones, the most ripe ones, and then all you've got to do is add some water to the bowl, and then boil it up, bring it to a simmer for a short while, crunch up all the blackberries, and then drain off all of the little bits and just keep the juice. And it's really refreshing, and obviously it's full of vitamin C, so it's proper good for you, and it's very nice and very welcome after a day on the bank.
Tell you what, that smells absolutely delicious. Oh, can't wait to get tucked into it. I've not really got the tools to start squashing these blackberries, but a pair of pliers and a spoon will do the job, hopefully. Just to squeeze all the juice out. Almost ready now. As I said, I've not got the tools with me today or equipment to do it properly, so all I've done is just get me cup, get a sock, and I'm gonna use that to filter out all of the bits. It should work, but it might taste a bit salty. Here we go then, let's see what it's going to be like. Let's see if it goes in. I need to put something in there to just weigh that down so it doesn't all start going over the side. I think it's working. So the moment of truth then, Bo. Do you want some, dear? It smells that good. She's getting all excited, but yeah, it's that red. It's probably going to turn me mouth all red like one of those kids that drinks Ribena all day long, but it certainly smells nice. So let's see what it's like. Oh, I tell you what, that is absolutely beautiful, it really is. And it's definitely worth the hour that I've spent today picking those berries, cooking it up and turning it into a lovely drink. Gorgeous. That's beautiful. Yep, not good that. Just lost a fish. Haven't really been here long, only an hour or so. And yeah, had to take out the blue, didn't expect it. 6 o'clock in the evening. One of the lads off the syndicate stew was with me, having a chat with him, and yeah, did the hard part because I got it from out there into the margins. But last week when I was on here, I had a bit of a problem with one of the fish really close in where there's a massive thick set of weed. It's only a couple of rod lengths out, and this fish managed to find a sanctuary there, and we managed to make up a little bit of a makeshift rake to try and rake some of that weed out from there. And should have done it last week really, but didn't, and fannied around with it for about half an hour getting it out of that weed, and managed to get it out of there. and as soon as he felt that I was still in contact with it, the fish just shot straight out to the middle, and there was that much weed still on the line that it was pulling the line down close in, but the fish was probably near halfway out, and then it found another weed bed. So then when you get those angles in the line, you're not pulling directly at the fish. It was more in his favour, and yeah, hook pulled eventually. But did so much to get that fish out of there. I feel as though I've missed an opportunity there, because the fish in here, there's so many good ones in here. Every one that you lose, I lost one last week, which wasn't really my fault, because fish bolted off and on the take and lost it almost immediately. The hook pulled, came back with a little bit of a burr on it, so probably just didn't get a good hook hold. But on this occasion I had a good hook hold, but messed around with it for that long that it took the advantage away from me into the fish. But yeah, still got 3 nights left, so it's not all lost yet. Still a chance to redeem things. And as I said at the beginning of this piece, there's some good fish in here that are definitely due out, so anything can happen. But let's hope that I start putting things right, because at the moment in this swim it's 2 to the fish and only 1 to me, and I don't like the sound of that. Well, it's not the best light conditions. I've got a ridge monkey on the back of the bivvy, but I'm not sure if you can see that, but that is a beautiful common, mid-30, and a great fight. They don't come out much in the night either, so that is a nice result. Mega. Just letting the common go. Lovely. The water's still clear. With winter just around the corner, you really do need to check out these new Thermatech sleeping bags from Avid Carp. These bags really do push the boundaries of bankside comfort and luxury further than ever before. Utilising heated elements along the sleeping bag's length with 4 different heat settings to suit all situations and conditions, these bags are suitable for use 365 days of the year. The unique USB cord enables you to plug the bag into your power pack and heat the elements within the bag, offering unrivaled comfort even in the coldest of conditions. Unlike most 5-season bags that are bulky and heavy with many layers, the Thermatech heated sleeping bag is up to 50% more compact than some 5-season bags on the market. There's a standard and XL size available, both fitted with 3 elements, 1 at the top, 1 in the centre and 1 down at the bottom. Each bag comes supplied with a stuff sack and is both waterproof and breathable, and surprisingly they don't need masses of power to make them work. Even on the highest setting, they can last more than 15 hours of continuous use, making them suitable for both the short and long session angler. The Thermatech sleeping bag retails at $179.99 for the standard and $199.99 for the XL. For more details, check them out at avidcarp.com. Right, I'm finding lots of different weed on the bottom of this place, but the 2 common ones that I'm finding is Canadian pondweed in my right hand, which is very common around our lakes in the UK, and you can even buy this from your local aquatic store to stick in your garden pond or your fish tank. But carp absolutely love it, but the problem is with it, it sits off the bottom in big blooms, which makes it difficult to present over. Now you could use a chod rig if you happen to use that presentation, or a PVA bag, and it will do your bites, but on this lake it's known that if you find this stuff, you
you've got a better chance of catching fish. Now, I don't actually know the name of this weed, other than carp anglers call it eelgrass. You will find it in lots of different lakes, and where there's eelgrass, there tends to be a lot of carp because it sits all around them. It's very easy for them to move amongst it as well, because it doesn't sit in big blooms like the Canadian pondweed. It sits just upright with lots of space between the strands, which makes it easy to fish amongst as well. Now, you could use a PVA nugget on the hook to cast amongst it, but for me all I'm doing is just casting the lead out, feeling for the nice drop, and I'm happy, and I know that the carp are finding it. It isn't too difficult to fish amongst either. It's not very sharp. You do get a few razor mussels and snails sticking to it, so obviously using tough gear is always going to help you, but in all honesty it's pretty easy to fish amongst, and it's pretty easy to get carp out of it as well. And hopefully fishing amongst this week, it's going to do me a few bites.
Yeah, so much weed. Crazy.
Beautiful. Every single fish you catch at this lake is stunning. It's one of the good things about Alan's stocking policy, that nothing goes in here that is not nice looking. It's lovely. Got a size 6 hook on here because it's still quite thick out there, the weed at the moment, and I have had a few problems with the fish getting weeded up, so I'm using quite a large hook because I want to be sure that the fish are not going to come off in this weed. And then all I've got is an SLK bottom bait on there, and that's been soaked a little bit, so it's got a little bit of extra flavour in it to make it stand out and also make it a little bit more attractive, because we've still got a lot of smelly weed out there. And you know, people ask me about using bottom baits. Is it true that you just use them straight out of the bag? You've not got any cork inserts in there or pop-ups, etc., to make them a little bit buoyant or to overcome the weight of the hook? And all I can say is it's exactly as it says. It's a bottom bait that is straight out of the bag, and I've no problem with using these, because when I'm fishing for big fish, obviously they're very greedy. This time of the year they're going to be on the feed a lot, and I know full well that that is going to look like the free offerings that are out there that I'm baiting up with, and it's all about tricking these fish, and that definitely blends in a lot better than anything else that stands out, looks a little bit different to the free offerings that are around it. So that's it, very simple, and as I say, it's very effective as well. Proper buzzing. Yes. Didn't get it on camera, as in the fight, because long story, battery dead on me head cam, but down there a few moments ago in that sling is a £45 zip linear, the barbecue zip. Woohoo! Get in there. That is exactly why I'm fishing Long Lake. There's two stunning zip linears in here. That's actually the best looking one of the two of them. There's one that's a little bit bigger than this one, but wow, what I'm going to say, I'm proper speechless, because this is a tough lake, not an easy venue at all, and I've dropped on a few fish. I've got something that's working for me, and yeah, this is what happens when you put the effort in and you go fishing, because that's what I'm doing at the moment. Proper buzzing. So let's have a look at it on the bank. What a mega fish. What a carp that is. The barbecue zip at 45 pounds. Awesome. Proper buzzing. That is just mega. One of my target carp for the year. Brilliant. There's the other side of it. Magnificent. What a brilliant fish. What a fantastic start to my fishing on Long Lake. Mega. What a carp.